Let's make macaroni and cheese, but vegan. To get started, you're gonna need some pasta. I am using rotini. This is 8 ounces or half a pound. This has already been cooked, but cook it to the manufacturer's directions. In a pan over low-ish heat, I'm gonna add some vegan butter, 2 tablespoons to be exact. Spread that around in the pan, and to that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of flour. This is just all-purpose flour. You can use pretty much whatever kind of flour you want. And mix that together. We are making a roux. A roux is just a fancy term for a thickening agent. Make sure you get all the dry taken up with butter. That way, everything is encapsulated. Once it starts to look kind of like, I don't know, Play-Doh maybe, you'll hear a little bit of sizzle, just like that. And I just want to cook it for another couple minutes just to get rid of some of that cereal-y flavor, as people like to say. After a couple minutes of cooking, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of the plant-based milk of your choice. I happen to be using Silk Cashew unsweetened. You probably don't want something sweetened for this. It's just not going to taste quite right. And now we whisk. You want to break up all those little pieces. At this point, we have what's called a bechamel sauce, which is basically just a cream sauce. We're going to be turning it into a Mornay sauce, sort of, a vegan Mornay sauce, if you will, because that's when you add cheese. Okay, it's looking pretty good, and I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit to help it heat up a little faster so that it'll thicken. It's starting to thicken already, which is good. We're going to be adding some Daiya cheddar shreds, and you want to just add a little bit at a time. Otherwise, your sauce can actually do what's called a break, where it just turns into like cream and oils, and you don't want that. You just want to do a little addition, let that melt all the way in, and then add some more. You can see it's thickening up. I am going to turn that heat down a lot. I want that on the lowest setting. Just add a little bit more cheese. Keep mixing. If you walk away at this point, you could come back to a very gloopy, burned mess. Don't walk away. Keep stirring. And our last bit of cheese. Just going to keep mixing that through until it's melted all the way. Okay, at this point, I'm going to add some seasoning. I'm going to do a little bit of black pepper. About, I don't know, a bunch of grinds of black pepper. Derek really likes it. I happen to really like black pepper in my mac and cheese. So, a pretty good amount of black pepper. And some salt. I'm using pink Himalayan salt, and I'm just going to give it a good pinch. It's probably about a half a teaspoon. A little bit of saltiness added to the sauce actually makes it taste cheesier. It's just a thing. But now I want to switch out to a spoon. I'm going to use a bamboo spoon. I'm going to get our pasta, which has been sitting in the bowl, so it's all congealed together, of course. And just kind of gently break it up into the pan. You don't want to break the pasta. You just want to, break up the glob of finished pasta. In a perfect world, you do these two things at the same time. But I really didn't want a timer going off and then have to strain in the middle of making this for you. Okay, at this point, I can turn the heat off. I know this is a cast iron burner, so it's going to hold that heat for a long time. I'm just stirring it through, making sure all the noodles are coated. And at this point, you have mac and cheese. This is totally edible, as is, but if you want to take it up a notch, and we always want to, you'll want to watch the next part. For the next part, you're going to want a bowl big enough to hold all of your mac and cheese. You're also going to want to set your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. I will put the Celsius right about here because I don't know what it is. And then I'm going to grab a small bowl. I'm going to add some breadcrumbs, about, 2 tablespoons or so. And to that, I'm going to add in some more vegan butter, about 2 tablespoons. I know there's a lot of vegan butter in this, and there's cheese and things like that. I never said this was healthy, but it's easy, and it's fast, and it's probably the best vegan mac and cheese I've had, not just made, that I've ever had. It's made very much like I used to make mac and cheese. I want to mix this all together. I want all those breadcrumbs coated with vegan butter. I think you see where we're going with this. These happen to be just panko breadcrumbs, by the way. Really simple stuff, but they work incredibly well. Okay, we have our paste-like material here. I'm just going to set that to the side for a moment. Now we take the mac and cheese and get it into our container. Once it's all in, just kind of smooth it down. I did scoop the rest of the sauce right over the top. It was just a little bit, something like that. And then our topping. Just like to do little blobs of it here and there. Can't get too exact when you're just throwing it on there, I know. Just do the best you can. You can use your fingers if you want to. I find it just as easy to flick it off of a spatula. Move it around a little bit, get it in all the different places. Just a pinch of salt over the top. That helps with the seasoning of the breadcrumbs. And some fresh cracked black pepper. And this will go into a 375-degree oven for about a half an hour. You want to let it bubble up a little bit, but you also want to see some browning. So that's about usually how long it takes. After some time in the oven, it looks something like this. If you don't get nice browning on top, you can always put it under the broiler for a minute or two. Just be really, really careful. But what we really want to know is, how does it taste? It smells incredible, and it's really, really hot. But I will suffer for you. It's rich, it's creamy, it's cheesy. Got a little bit of the crunch from that topping. I think that really does just add that extra little bit. This is absolutely indulgent. It is fantastic. So go ahead and make yourself some mac and cheese. We're going to be having this with my barbecued ribs, the new improved version that came out just a couple months ago. We can put a link to that video in the description here too. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on The Bistro.